Hey guys, welcome to the Saturday episode of my YouTube drop. Thanks for attending. Sorry I was sick last week, and so we're going to catch us up on where we're at about 2 weeks from the last episode. And so thanks for attending. So today we're going to actually look at, of course, we're going to look at Bitcoin as always. And excuse me, if you realized a couple weeks ago I was confirming that we're in a pretty major correction. After the top at 13,900, which had stretched a little bit further than my ideal 13,425. Since that time, we've been continuing to drop, and any rally we've seen has been very corrective in structure and very weak in technicals. And today we've got another setup, in my point of view, for much more downside. And we'll take a look at that. After Bitcoin, I'm going to review Verge, and this actually came as a request from, I believe his name was Grizzly Garth on Twitter, so shout out to you. Thanks for paying attention, watching, and being into these videos. I do need to warn that I really can't take requests from folks that are not subscribers. That's the purview of those that subscribe to the service on Wave Trader. However, I thought his request was interesting because if you've been following me for a long time, I had been very bullish on Verge at one point in time, looking at $13. Now, I actually still think that target's viable, but I had shifted gears through the bear market. And particularly at the Pornhub announcement, I saw a major breakdown, and that was caught on video. And I had at that point sold all of my Verge. That's not to say long term that I don't see a rally, and I actually still think that 13 is viable. And we'll take a look at that long term chart. But for the meantime, I see it's going a bit lower before there is even a chance at a bottom. And we'll take a look, and we'll review the history and see what turned me and what led me to sell all of my Verge, and what may cause me to buy again potentially. So, all right, so tune in and let's take a look at Bitcoin right now. So, zoom out to hourly. Working a little slow this morning. So again, yeah, 13,400 roughly is the top I have on my chart. And as in first, we've traced out pretty clean ABC structure. I actually see, I labeled this as a WXY, but I see us as actually all of this taking a WXY form, and I need to relabel it. But this is a very typical form for Bitcoin. It's you can see WXY back here, and most major corrections in Bitcoin actually turn out to be WXYs, though it's hard to track them in the beginning. Now, I was looking, I don't remember where I was at with the last YouTube episode, but with my subscribers, I was looking for a higher B wave up closer to the 12,000 region. But I had about roughly 3 days ago, when we completed this 5 down, let's see, that was July 24th, I had warned subscribers that we have a potential aggressive downside setup coming in, and since then also shared that I was going to hedge my long Bitcoin portfolio far more aggressively. And that so far is playing out. We retraced 3 waves up. You can see that wave 2, circle wave 2. And now overnight we have 5 waves down in what I call this parentheses 1. I don't know if it's completed, but it looks like it's completed when I look at a 5-minute chart. Right now, actually, what's really interesting about this structure is I get very clean projections to the 7,800 region. I think I've talked about the 84 to 7,800 region before in previous YouTube, and I actually get a very clean projection to that area, and that's the 3A2 retrace off the December low, which it makes it a very important fib for wave 2. So that's what we're looking at right now. If we look at technicals, remember I have said that I think there's a really strong chance that any major correction will take us to the RSI 30, and that's very typical in a bull market. And we are now currently at 41, so we have a ways to go in the daily RSI. MACD is really embedded in a downward movement here. Wide open, momentum is down, and despite some of the rallies we've had. And so no reason to say this is bottomed at all, but I'll be looking at 7,800. We could even see it by mid this week, if we're lucky this weekend, but I doubt it'll be until a little bit later in the week. And to see RSI, really move down strong to 30, I again have suggested that that's a great place to buy RSI base wise on a bull market. So we'll see where that goes. So the bottom line with Bitcoin is that we're still in a correction, of course. I see nothing in this action with all of these rallies being very corrective, that we should not even have a chance at bottom above 8,400, and we'll see at that point. I think 7,800 is a very perfect target for at least this leg of the down. Now there can always be another B and C, and remember, I have 4,300 sort of line in the sand for this bull market. I'm not sure we get there. I think we're getting a lot of deep corrections on a lot of other charts, which suggests to me that Bitcoin is just stronger still than all the other coins out there, and may end this correction shallow. But that said, just be aware that support, the end of the line, so to speak, is way below us until we have a 5-wave move off the corrective low, which we'll be tracking as we go. And if you want more day-to-day updates, again, we caught this short setup in Elliott Wave Trader, or at least imitation short or hedge, or however you find appropriate. We caught that a few days ago and have watched that ride ever since. So consider joining at least for a trial. Check out what we do on Elliott Wave Trader. All right, so let's look at Verge. Let's relive history a little bit. I've got the weekly chart here, and I have to say, Verge has not been one of the calls that I'm most proud of over my time as an analyst. To be honest, I was watching Twitter and watching everyone be getting bullish on Verge with its development, and I just thought it was fun to kind of weigh in. Though I really believe my targets. I was way more weighing in just to be social and enjoy the crypto crowd. And what I was suggesting at the time was that we could see a $13 target in Verge over time. Now, I actually still think that's valid. However, I'm going to change some fibs here real quick. However, what's really key here is that we've got to hold 0007. What is that? 775 sats, I believe, for that area to hold. I usually don't speak in sats, to be honest, but I need to see that hold for the 13 region to hold. Now, the actual target I have fib-wise is this region between 342 and 1543, and somewhere in the middle would be where it would go. Now, there's a lot. That's a big distance in between, but if you look at it from perspective of us sitting at half a cent. That is a big, giant return. Again, if 0.17 of a cent breaks, sorry, not sats, we're talking dollars here, 0.17 of cent breaks, then I no longer view that target as valid. Now, one thing that happened after I was making those calls is I actually found a lot more data on CoinMarketCap for this coin. I had filled in this chart, and it actually changed some of these targets. So one of the key changes that happened was that I had to lower support. And after I made that call, I saw support down in this region in February. I had to move it much lower after getting that data. So a lot of people on Twitter missed that, of course, as my subscribers got it live when I said, "Hey guys, I've got some data that really changes the picture." That said, again, long out, we still have that target here. Now, since then, we've filled out a really strong correction, and I call it a WXY. No, sorry, I've got that as a standard ABC. Yeah. And if you go back to the Pornhub announcement, where even then we saw another bullish swell in sentiment. And honestly, anytime you see, when I tweeted targets of 13 and I saw such a response, that should have been a warning. I was wrong from the beginning. If I see something so bullish in terms of the crowd, usually I'll start to fade it. And I wasn't wise in retracting my call based on sentiment, but I should have. But the data certainly changed the picture. Now, when we had the announcement back in April 2018, what I was looking at, if you can watch the video, I held a live webinar with subscribers at the time, and you can actually watch that video. It's still on the channel if you want to go back. But I was saying that, I don't know if this is a leading diagonal, and I wanted to see one more wave up to really confirm that, or we were going to see a B wave top. And live on that video, as the action started to play out, we had this big red candle. I said, well, I think we have a B wave top. So it was there at that point in time back in April 2018 during that announcement that I had sold all of my Verge after I had seen us move from this 3-wave top to an impulsive wave down. I didn't even need to see this one fill in because I had seen an impulse on the live video, and I said, hey, we've got a correction in play, and I believe I marked some support out here, but I had also said that really 0.015 was the next level we can even talk about. And so we hit below that here. We didn't even hold 1.015, and now we're moved into long-term support. In the backdrop of this, I had turned very bearish on Bitcoin around February, when it really confirmed to me it was a very large-scale bear market, not just the top, as I had called the 18 to 19 K area for a top. It was really the February failed rally that confirmed that it was a more large-scale bear market with 4,600 to 3,000 as long-term support, and you can see that in all of my talks and tweets, etc. Back then. And so, in the backdrop, I had viewed the whole market as very bearish, and with the drop through the April support levels, which back then would have been the retrace of this potential B wave high at 0.043. After 0.043, I was looking at 0.015, and then we saw a corrective rally in this region here, which even when Bitcoin was bottomed, I've been, my subscribers can confirm that I've been extremely bearish on Verge. I even tracked a diagonal to see if I was wrong in being bearish, but my primary has been looking to new lows below the December low for many months, and I haven't changed this chart. I had a red alternative leading diagonal here that I was tracking, but it never fulfilled it in such a way that I wanted to trust it, and so I assumed then that we would get to long-term support. And if we draw long-term support, if we draw fibs of the retrace of the third to the wave 2, typically you want to only retrace 382 of that, and so here we are about to hit that level here, and then we can say that we get a low wave 4 at this 775, so 700ths of a cent. Wow. So that's possible to go that low, but I actually see a setup right now to bottom in 0.3 of a cent. So now I'm not calling a bottom in this area. I'm not going to call a bottom in this area until I see a very strong reaction to support, a strong impulsive wave up, 5 waves, and I will finally maybe consider buying Verge. I actually really don't like what I see in altcoins. I know everyone's talking about alt parties. I have just reviewed 100+ charts for subscribers to set what I call skew levels, risk to reward for the long term, and I see so few charts that I like that I am actually very doubtful that we see a major alt party, that we're going to have a strong bull market in large caps. I hope I'm wrong, because I know there's so many alt holders out there waiting for that alt party. I just hope for their sake that they get it. For me personally, I don't know if I want to go long Verge. Honestly, I trade Bitcoin, I trade Ether, I trade EOS, I trade more of the large cap coins. I think they are just far more manageable in terms of their structure. But we'll see. I might take $500 or so and throw down on Verge and see what happens, and maybe build on the trade if it really does perform. But right now, highly skeptical. But that said, this area 0.3 of a cent is the next place to look for a bottom. And if it's got a strong 5-way structure, I'll track it for subscribers until the wheels come off. Basically, anything that looks bullish, trade it until the wheels come off. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt as long as it has a proper structure. All right. I hope that makes sense. I think that I learned a lesson and be a lot more cautious what you call online. If I call anything on Twitter, honestly, you're not necessarily going to get every update from me. If you're not subscribed to service. That's not me being selfish, it's just being practical. My focus is keeping everyone updated on LA Wave Trader. And if you had followed me since April, you knew that I was pretty much out of it back in April last year and not bullish anymore. And so you would have dodged all of that pain. But I still had people telling me on Twitter, man, aren't you looking at 13? Aren't you looking at 13? I'm like, well, I am looking at 13 in the future, but right now it's a bear market. And a lot of folks just saw me as disingenuous. That's just the nature of social media. All right, guys. So that's this week. I mean, we still got correction to go. Hang on, keep your capital safe right now. Certainly this is a shorter's market, at least for a short period of time. But the bulls will rage again, at least in my point of view, as long as 4,300 holds. I wish you guys a great week. Glad to be back. Glad that I'm feeling better, and can share this with you. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.